Hello, divine, beautiful souls. This is Energy Speaks Podcast with your host, Catriel. We have a very special guest this episode. Her name is Wisdom, also known as Carrie as well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Yes, Carrie Wisdom.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Wow, that's a big question.
Isn't it for all of us?
Oh, it is. It's so big. Wow. Well, I don't even know where to begin with a question like that. It's changed so much. In the past, I would have said, I would have started out by, in the old paradigm, I would have started out with my profession and what I do as a licensed psychotherapist. But that's not really, that doesn't really tell you who I am.
Ooh. Kind of reminds me of, you ever see Anger Management? Where he's like,
yeah.
Who are you?
I am spirit having a human experience, and I really do feel that now. I experience that energetically. It's no longer just a thought. It used to be a concept that at first started out, interesting. I never really thought about myself that way, to, oh yes, this is right on, to I am absolutely just spirit having a human experience. So it's like the layers of an onion.
Yes.
And that's kind of, and now it's just not even a doubt, a question. Yeah, and I can feel that energy running through my body as spirit now. I'm connected to that spirit energy inside my body now.
For a little bit of backstory, being guided to share, I met Wisdom in Mount Shasta. If anybody knows what Mount Shasta is, it's one of the activating spots in this planet. It's in California, Northern California, and it's the root chakra of the earth, is it?
Well, it's one of the major, if not the major vortex, and it's connected to Lemuria, which was one of the islands, Maui, they say, but one of the islands in Hawaii.
That makes a lot of sense. So about a month ago, we were up in Mount Shasta and had the most incredible journey up there. And Mount Shasta has been really close to your being. Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? What guided you to Mount Shasta?
The best way for me to describe it is it's like a calling. I had, heard about the Pleiadians that inhabit the Mount Shasta, underneath the mountain of Mount Shasta. And for whatever reason, I felt extremely drawn. And then there was a calling that I had during the pandemic. And I thought to myself, as soon as I can safely get on a plane, or get on a plane when I feel safe enough to do so, it was just a calling. I had to go there and be in that energy. And the interesting thing about that energy is that I was told that when you get to the elevation of 3,000 feet or higher, that your thought forms begin to dissolve. So instead of getting stuck in thinking or thoughts, you have thoughts and then they just dissolve. And that was my experience up there. I just felt that kind of, I don't know if you experienced that too, the energy. It was a different energy. And I felt very grounded there, but I also, at the same time that I felt grounded, I felt so connected to the earth, to the mountain, inside. I felt an easy alignment, very easy to align inside, to experience that centeredness that we have when we're in alignment. It was just easy. It was effortless. And when I came back here, all I could say is that the energy here felt more soupy.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it like for you? We never got a chance to really talk about it.
So it was so beautiful, like we traveled, all night, like to get there. We got there probably about midnight. And so when I woke up that morning, I walked outside and realized that we were staring at Mount Shasta from our Airbnb.
Yeah.
And that was mind-blowing and really really grounded me in a way that I can't even explain. And then I remember, I was like, wow, this is the day we're supposed to go on our journey. And this is interesting. I don't have the funds. And I started to kind of like get into a space where I was like, well, how is this going to be possible? And then I was like, you made it to Mount Shasta. Why would this, like, Spirit just came in real clear and was like, you made it here. Why do you think I'm going to lead you here and not take care of you? Mm-hmm. And I was like, good point. Right. And so I asked a simple question, and sometimes asking is hard to do. I said to my mom, I said, we're supposed to go on this journey. We're supposed to take a guide to Mount Shasta and go on the mountain and everything. Would you be able to help support that vision for today? And without even responding to me, within less than a minute, she had sent me the funds.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa. Like, I was like, that was like me recognizing like my worth in a sense, and how much my mom believes in me and my vision and in my connection with Source. Like, all of that was apparent just by this activation.
It's amazing how supportive they are. I'm so happy for you. I really am. That makes such a difference in people's ascension process and just going through this, to have family that's supportive, because there are so many people out there that don't have that.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's like, in that day, it was very simple the way he guided us. And I loved it. What was really meaningful to me, though, is one, okay, I'm Jewish, so like him expressing that he was Jewish, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? What kind of activation's going on, Spirit? All right. And then he took us, to the mountaintop, like as far as we could go, and took us to that spot where there was the Star of David.
Right.
And that was huge to me, because when we got there, he started doing this specific type of ritual, and it illuminated something, because that's the type of ritual that I'm inwardly always guided, like that type. It was different. And that was really powerful to me. And then I was guided to do something even deeper beyond that while I was there. And the fact that partially where we were stepping in, and I had my bare feet, was partially snow, and then just, regular soil. And I'm just like, this is very interesting. Just exactly even the steps that I was guided to take throughout that, and the symbolism and the depth within that. And then after that experience, I went up to him, and he shared with me without like even me asking anything. He says, that was a very unique experience. I've never done that before.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he channeled that. And I was just like, whoa. Then I just got, the feeling I just got right now was the same feeling that when our higher selves connected right there with our physical beings. And it was just incredible. Like this, I don't even know how to explain it. This meeting. And like, I was like, what did we just do as Soul Fam? You know, you and Lisa and Carm and I and Andrew. Like, what did we just do?
You know, and do you have an answer for that?
I feel like we activated a lot of peace codes, you know, and interconnectedness beyond religion with our souls. The fact that we were on a vortex, the fact that we were, you know, all different spiritual beliefs, even though he was culturally Jewish and you know, born into Judaism, he wasn't really a practicing Jew. And I thought that was awesome. Yeah. The fact that we just all fluidly, harmoniously just synced.
Yeah, that was beautiful the way and you know, I don't know if you experienced it this way, but when we were doing things like that, when we were up there, again, it was much more of, I wasn't in my head with any of it. And so I didn't analyze it. I just experienced it. And I just know that when my feet touched the ground and our presence there collectively was doing something that my mind on a human level wouldn't necessarily understand, or at least not at that moment. And it was a sacred ritual. That's what it felt to me like.
Yes. Very sacred. And, you know, building upon that, I feel like that was the activation point where I feel it grounded was the point of when we got to Santa Cruz and went through across the stream and all this journey through the woods. Like, there was something very, like we got to that one spot where it was it almost felt like a throne, and we all sat on it.
Oh, yes.
And I know, like, originally when we went out, we were going to do this meditation and everything, and I, you know, like, honestly, I saw that as like one of the highlights of my trip of like, it's never what we think.
No, it's not.
You know, like we may have this idea of how things should unfold, but when we like think back on it, or even are in the moment, we're like, whoa, this is it.
When we all sat on the throne of that huge redwood, I felt as if what was happening is that somehow we were connecting in Mount Shasta with the redwood grid that goes all the way up the coast that's interconnected. And I really feel that we were doing that without speaking, just being in the silence together. It just was happening. We were being used as, I think of it as, we're rainbow bridges. We're rainbow Absolutely. Bridges. And we're the bridge between Mother Gaia, the crystalline grid, all of that, and the cosmos. That somehow we are essential to Mother Earth. We're a part of her. We're not just living on her. We are an essential part of her, and she's part of us. And she's a consciousness, too. And her consciousness is very interconnected with ours.
It's so interesting as we reflect on this. Like, I'm getting so many downloads at this moment in time. I just saw, like, because ironically, the podcast that was recorded right before you, part of that was already revealed, and of Harmony saw God.
Oh, wow.
And how she saw it through the heartbeat of Gaia. Mother Gaia.
Yes.
And I just saw this image within of like this, us all being a part of this crystalline heart of Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
And as, you know, the vortexes, like right before that, you know, Carm and Lisa and I had gone to Sedona, where another large vortex is, or many vortexes. And then how we also went through the deep, interesting aspects of Las Vegas. And how
wow.
how through there's still we like essentially rose this vibration. I'm really curious to see what takes place, you know, from these points of where we went. Because you know, as you spoke, you know, it's connected to Hawaii. Yeah. And also connected with Lemuria, which is, you know, like you know, through, you know, the Pacific, you know, and then also the Palladian energy, and how intense the heart form of the Palladians are. I don't know if you've ever felt Palladian energy in the heart space. It's incredible, and it's very powerful, and it's sometimes even hard to even breathe.
It's expansive.
It's so expansive.
Yeah.
And like just feeling into all of that, and how all of that energy intertwined and went to the roots, into the heart of Gaia.
I love that, because that is what we did in the Redwoods. I really do believe that. And what's interesting, I want to share this with you. I think I shared this with you already, but I want to share it with everybody, is that I had that experience of when I left Shasta, I was crying, and I didn't know why I was crying. I mean, and to me, it's just whenever my heart opens up, I go to tears, and I don't analyze it or try to figure it out. I just allow it, and it always feels good. It feels like a cleansing. It feels like an expansion of my heart. And I was leaving, and I just started crying. I didn't know why or anything, and I was driving. I had called my best friend down in Santa Cruz, and I said, okay, you know, I'll see you in about 5 hours or so. 2 hours later, and I was back at Shasta. I can't explain it. I can't. And I just, right before I saw our exit off to McLeod, right before I saw that exit, I got this feeling that I wasn't where I thought I was. And then I saw the exit where we had taken to go to our Airbnb. And
Wow.
I was like, oh my gosh. So, of course, I turned around. I called my friend. I said, well, we got to add a couple hours to that because to the trip, because I'm back at Shasta. I don't even know how I got here.
Whoa, you went through a vortex or something.
Something, but to me, I said, okay, what is the message here? And the message was that you're going to be coming back. And I thought, well, is it that I'm not supposed to leave? And I didn't feel like it was saying that. It was just saying you're going to come back. Well, you know, I think it was maybe, 7, 8 days later, I did go back. That's when the mountain gave me all those gifts. I don't know if you know that. They gave me the gifts of the oils, the essential oils, and the rose quartz. I found them on the floor of the mountain.
Wow.
I was just in the woods, and I was connecting, bringing the energy of the redwoods where we had been, and I was bringing it back into Shasta to do full circle. And that's how it was led. I was led that way. And so I was up there, and I turn around, and I had been meditating, leaning against one of the trees and looking up at the peak, and I turned my head. I heard look over there, and I just looked over there, and I saw these tiny little Tierra, the essential oils from doTERRA, I think it's called.
doTERRA, yes.
doTERRA, that's it. And there were 3. It was passion, peppermint, and lavender.
Wow.
And there were 2 rose quartz love rollers. I had to ask, actually, Carmela, what are these? I didn't even know what they were. So anyway, I still have them. I brought them home and everything, but it was just, I felt like it was a gift. I mean, to find this really in the middle of the forest.
Wow.
It was, yeah.
It's really interesting. As we left Santa Cruz, we went through Salt Lake City, where the headquarters of doTERRA is.
Oh.
I thought that was fascinating because there's so many people of our community that is linked in with like doTERRA and how often we even pull out a doTERRA product. And I was like, wow, we're doing a major activation here. That trip was incredible.
It really was, and I don't even know if we understand how expansive and how the impact of what we did there. And there are some things that just don't have words.
It's still being revealed. And I feel, like we often talk about the elements and stuff and how important and how we relate, to the elements. And something that's being highlighted right now, and it's been highlighted all day, is water, mayim in the Hebrew. I don't know why I'm speaking it like that. But how water holds memory. And how like we can connect to all waters on this earth and beyond, and memory and all of it, as we like, even when we tear up and we allow, ourselves to cry and have this, it's incredible. It kind of actually reminds me of Harry Potter. I don't know if you ever saw Harry Potter, and how, like when Snape, he's about to die, he's crying, and he takes the tears, puts it into a little vial, and puts it into the pensieve, and the pensieve was all of the memories swirling around.
I am so glad you brought this up, because my new understanding is that our Akashic records are in the crystalline grid. They're embedded in the crystalline grid. They never leave the earth. We are, and that's how we're also a part of her. It doesn't leave. So over the years, those of us that have come back many times, it just keeps building and growing. But that Akashic record of all our past lives never leaves the planet. It stays with the planet.
That's incredible.
With the planet's history. And I just, that made so much sense.
I was like, I don't know why I'm saying all this, but I trust.
No, I mean, when I heard that, I just, how when we hear truth, and if we're tuned in and we're open, our body usually it flows in easy. It goes in easy, truth. And when it's something that we're not comfortable with, it doesn't. And, there could be lots of reasons not to be comfortable with it. But as a intuitive, when I hear the truth, it just goes in easy. And even if I don't understand it in my mind, I know that it's the truth.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't go in easy, then I'm not sure about it.
In the Hebrew word for truth is emet. And I find it so fascinating because it's very close to like the English word emit.
Oh, yes.
And truth is also very much so connected with light and also faith. But I think of like the emission emission of light. And also with that process of the shine of that light and illuminating truth, how much on the other side of the flip side of that is our faith, and how we may not see it, but we can feel it and we know it to be true.
Yeah, and you know it without knowing how you know it. It's because, and the reason we know it is because we were made and created from truth.
Yes, it's a part of us.
It's a part of us. So that's the knowing. So if you're tuned in inside, it goes in easy because you are from truth.
Yes.
Our very essence is love. It's the truth.
That is my word for the year, actually, is emet.
Ah.
Normally at the very beginning of the year, I choose a word to work with, 1 or 2 words. And the 2 words that I chose was emet, meaning truth, and imunah, which is faith. And
Nice.
how closely they're linked.
Yeah, they really are.
I love playing with words, and especially from the Hebrew perspective, it just illuminates so much for myself.
Language is incredible.
Oh, God,
Language is
yes.
incredible. In fact, that reminds me of something that I want to share for people that are listening, because often what we think of, I just lost the thought. That's okay. What were we talking about? We'll get
Truth.
back. Truth. Yeah, but it was before that. Oh, well.
It shall come back.
It will come back if it's meant to come back. It was about emotions that were not that. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know how this fit into what we were talking about, and that's the link that I'm missing right now. But that we're not our emotions. Our emotions are signals. They're like red flags, but it's not who we are. And that's really important because we forget that. And then when we have a strong, and our language, it goes back to language. Here we are. Okay. So language has it in English. You say, I am sad. Now, in other languages that, Portuguese, Spanish, there are so many, all the Romance languages, they don't say I am sad because that's not who you are.
Yeah.
They say I have sad, or I have sadness, we'd say in English, right? I have it, meaning it's just a passing thing. It's here now, I have it now, but it's not who I am. And so in English, because we say it as if that's who we are, it's really, as far as like emotions go, because our language even reflects, you are angry. Well, no, that's not who he is. That's not who I am. That's just emotion that we're expressing at the time or experiencing at the time, but it's not who we are.
It's interesting you should mention that. So I also have a background in psychology as well. And it's something that I remember very, very clearly, especially in abnormal psychology. We are not these things.
Right.
It's, it is making sure that we speak with, preciseness of this is essentially what I'm experiencing, or, I feel this way, and not boxing someone into a specific label.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like in this society that we're in, we like to live in boxes for so long. And that's why
it's been a way of controlling us.
Yeah. And we're no longer wanting to be in those boxes. Yeah. That container is now starting to kind of blow its top off and allow ourselves to branch out into this new universe of understanding.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so excited about it. So excited. Yeah. And, I also want to share another thought I had that I wanted to share with people, with the listeners.
Yeah.
And that is that I was thinking about all the people that have gone, to therapy or worked on self-love. And the other day it occurred to me, one of the reasons why for myself it didn't work was because I was trying to I was trying to use self-love through my ego. In other words, until you know who you are, when you're trying to love yourself, if who you think you are is not who you are, then how does that work?
Right.
So the first place is to, until you know who you are as spirit, that you're not this body, you're not your feelings, you're not your thoughts. Until you understand that, and I understand that your identity is one of spirit and, having a human experience, of course, then it changes self-love completely. Because when you recognize that you're spirit, you come from pure love, you are pure love, the self-love is in that. It's automatically in that. But if you're trying to love an avatar, a persona, a personality that's always changing and looking, and the ego's always looking for problems and other things, to love that, it's going to be a challenge. And I don't think it's even possible. Because you're not loving yourself. And that's the whole idea about teaching people to love themselves, is first they have to even recognize who they are.
Yeah.
Or they're just, how's it going to work? And I think that's why people have had such a hard time loving themselves, is because they haven't even known who they are.
Yeah. Wow. Just taking a moment as you were speaking, essentially, I saw my grandmother speaking to me.
When was that?
As you were speaking.
Oh, okay.
Like, so many times I've heard my grandma speak, and she's passed on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ironically, she was also a Gemini.
Ah.
And the way you spoke it, like, about love and being connected to divine spirit, was exactly how she explained it to me one day.
Wow.
And I said, wow. My being was just like in like this type of awe in a sense. Like, is this really happening right now? Like, and it's so true. Like, until we can really experience spirit, us in that spirit. And I also want to connect, we are not our feelings, we are not our thoughts, but how they can help identify and illuminate certain things. That it's really important to me, because I feel a lot. I'm a feeler. You don't go through life with being a Scorpio, sun and a Cancer moon and not feel. But I feel things in a different way, and they help me identify. There's moments where I'm like, okay, all right, I'm feeling and it's overwhelming, and I'm not my feelings. But they can be such illuminators in certain ways, and just how thoughts can be as well.
They're the flags. They're saying, hey,
yes,
pay attention over here. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. I don't know why I was going with that, but I feel like even maybe some of our listeners, that might be something that, connects some dots for them, some indicators, some, to be able to go deeper, especially in meditation with that.
Yeah, they reveal, feelings reveal. And it just tells us where we maybe need to work on things, or, each feeling, each situation is different. But to me, it's just nice. For example, if I know that I'm angry, and if I see myself as anger, that's very different.
Yeah, it's very different.
Right?
Yeah.
Because then you can get into self-hatred, shame, feeling bad about yourself if you think this is who you are.
Right.
But if you understand that you're angry because there's a reason, you can take a look at what's going on, because maybe there's an injustice going on. Maybe there's something that you haven't really paid attention to before about yourself. You just got triggered, and it has to do with something that happened 10 years ago that you haven't released. So to me, they're just opportunities to release old baggage, old stuff, and instead of getting down on myself or fighting with myself over the feelings, I just I embrace them, I sit with them, I don't judge, and that's the main thing. It's very difficult to get through feelings that you deem negative if you have judgment. Now, if you just go, oh, this is another feeling, this is just anger, this is just, whatever. Notice we have categories of good feelings and bad feelings, right?
Yeah.
Love is good, anger is wrong, or what, and there's judgment right in there, but they're all God-given. They're all there for a reason.
Right.
And they're all there to teach us about ourselves, not about other people, but about ourselves.
Right.
So there are opportunities to go deeper with yourself, and if you need to release stuff or to notice stuff, oh, well, okay, I prefer this to that. Well, I don't like this. I like that instead. So we get a chance to know more about ourselves, what we like, what we don't like, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, things like that. And most importantly, when we get triggered, it gives us an opportunity to go back, make the connection, and release it and forgive ourselves, forgive the other person, because it's almost always tied to somebody or something from our childhood.
Yeah.
Whenever we get triggered, whether it's triggered by a friend or a lover, but someone close to us, the bigger the trigger, probably the older and bigger the wounding is from the past. And all that person is doing is helping you to bring it up inside you so you can do the work to release it.
Yeah.
But instead what we tend to do, because we're not used to taking responsibility for the stuff that comes up, is we tend to blame the person who triggers us at first until we learn, hey, this isn't really about them. I mean, they're doing something similar, so that's why you're getting triggered.
It's learning to take responsibility for turning that trigger into an activation.
Yes.
And allowing it to empower us.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm feeling really guided to share this. Right now we're recording in June, and right now it's Pride Month. And I feel like a lot of this is coming up, like we have, right now we're in Gemini when we're recording. And throughout Pride Month is Gemini season and a little bit of Cancer. And the reason I bring this up is because those are centered in, the throat chakra with speaking our truth, but also in the solar plexus, because our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are stored in the solar plexus. That's where our soul dwells. It's our experiences, our wisdom, all of it. And during this month, a lot is illuminated, and there's a lot of empowerment within this. And, for our listeners, especially, anyone who is part of like the LGBTQ and many other letters that I don't know, community, there is a lot of experiences being brought up for liberation, because in Pride Month, we're bringing that up to be able to speak our truth, and it's a powerful energy, and we can allow this truth that we speak to also assist others in their experiences. Because sometimes, we don't know how to deal with certain things. And in like you said, things go back not even just to our early childhood experiences, but it can be at a soul level too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's deeper than what we ever thought. And so, you know, of course, you know, anytime, I just want to put this out there. And if anybody ever needs to just speak their truth, you know, whether it's through this podcast or me just holding space for you to talk, I'm here. This is a safe space. This is a safe container. And I just want to offer and extend that out to the community.
I just love that. To offering, yeah. You know, that just brought up an idea I had, which is that, you know, part of moving out of the old paradigm into the new paradigm is that we offer up that safe space and container and take the time to really start listening to each other, listening first of all and most importantly to ourselves, because we've been so trained to listen to the externals, listen to our parents, our friends, and, you know, TV, whatever. So listening to oneself. And then I think that it's natural once we've learned to listen to ourselves, we have more of a capacity to hold that space for somebody else. But if we don't hold that space for ourselves and it's filled up, there's no space to hold for anybody else.
Truth.
Yeah.
Thank you for, you know, sharing that perspective. And it's 100% true. If we do not fill our own cup up first, we're no good to anyone else. And that's why, you know, really working and cultivating, you know, self-love is really important.
Yeah. In fact, this month, the LBGT, you know, the Gay Pride Month, you know, I just want to say to all the listeners that this is the month of self-love.
Yeah.
You know, this is, you know, Pride came out of saying, it doesn't matter. I mean, whether you love us or not, we love each other. We have love for where we're at and understanding. And it's just a time to be your authentic self. And to be our authentic self requires a certain degree of self-love.
Yeah. And I think another indicator of like of pride is it's not necessarily about the label. It's realizing that we are all love and seeing each other for exactly that. Mm-hmm. And that's like powerful.
Yeah.
You know, I went to Target today and they have an entire pride line.
Really?
An entire pride line.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they have
lights.
This
is great. I had no idea things had changed that much. That's fantastic.
They have lights. They have shirts. I actually went and bought. I actually love getting like these type of button-down shirts with the collar, and it has little images on it. Yeah. Well, I found one that I would just normally wear, and it's literally ice cream cones that are rainbow. And I was like, well, this is not just utilized for pride. This is just my everyday. I love rainbows and I love ice cream. Bam. But like the fact that, you know, we're spreading that love, and the shirt that really stood out to me was this like toddler shirt that literally had like so many different languages on it, probably at least 15. In all different language, it said love. Mm. And I said, yes. Mm. Yeah. The world is starting to change and get it.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I wanna ask, is there anything else that you want to share or speak on?
Just two more things.
Absolutely.
One is about uniqueness, that the creator, universe, whatever you want to call it, we're each made uniquely And it's such a beautiful thing when you start to really see, it's like each diamond is unique. You know, each spirit, each soul is unique. It's just amazing. The old paradigm was trying to get us, like you said, in a box, you know, all the sameness. And the new paradigm is not about that at all. And it's beyond diversity. It's not just diversity. It's really seeing each human spirit, each God, as being uniquely, divinely magnificent. Magnificent. And the other thing I wanted to say is that, you know, I was born in into a Christian church, and, you know, I had a family that was very involved in the church. My mother was the organist, choir director, and my father was a deacon, and so it was really challenging for them when they found out their daughter was gay, which was way later in life. And for a long time, I remember when I first started to suspect, know but not want to know. I was like 18 or something, and it was like having leprosy. I mean, it was like, to me, the worst thing in the world, because this was way back in the very early 70s. It might have been 1970. Anyway, it was back when, you know, it was like having leprosy. I mean, if you said you were gay, that was about the worst thing you could be at that time. And I am so grateful and I thought, why would a loving God ever do this to me, right? I felt victimized by it in a society that was not going to accept me. So, you know, I just went right back into the closet for a long time. Wow. And anyway, it was difficult for me because of the whole, you know, and then I got kicked out of church, which was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was either that or go into a brainwashing program. And I said, wow. And I said, no, thanks. This is not my problem, it's yours. But the beautiful thing is that my being gay was my freedom out of that whole brainwashing. I mean, it was my liberation. It was my key to myself, because I left New York, went all the way to California, 3,000 miles away. I couldn't have gone any further west, right? And I left because I knew it was the only way I could ever I would ever know myself, is if I left that whole Christian brainwashing. For me, it was a Christian brainwashing, and it was my liberation. So I am so proud and grateful that I'm gay. Well, I'm spirit. I'm not gay. I'm not male or female. I'm not any of that anymore in my own definition. But I mean, it's what really pulled me away from what would have been with certainty a predictable life, getting married, 2.2 children or whatever. I would have followed. I would have followed that, but I couldn't. I didn't have, in my mind, I couldn't.
Yeah.
And it was my salvation. And I thought, wow, that was creative. I came in to be gay, which would be my salvation and my road to freedom, and certainly my road to my ascension.
It's so interesting. It's like judgment for, I love to love this way. That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
You're
not loving the way I want you to love, so therefore.
But is that love? It's like, and it's just very interesting how this picture that has been painted throughout, society and if you went back to Greece, it was the thing. Like, love was love. And the fact that there's 8 different words for love in the Greek, that's a podcast in itself.
Yeah.
Because philos, agape,
Eros.
Eros.
Yeah.
I never say it right, but there's so pragmatic love. There's so many different types, and we lose so much value in recognizing that when we dumb it down to that. It's just like, what? No.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is the time to illuminate what love is.
Yeah.
And, you know, how we love.
Yeah, and how we love. And just, you know, love is love is love. It's all good. Love is never, no matter what, love is never a negative thing.
You want to know what the equation for bliss is? So the divine masculine, love over light, plus divine feminine, light over love, equals divine bliss.
Oh.
That equation has been with me since 2018, and when it was,
I love it.
when that was given to me, I said, "Whoa, that's like incredible."
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way I could literally do it in an equation, you know, or words, because it's so much more than that. Is there anything else?
I just want to thank you for having me on. Really, this has been a fun experience. Really.
Thank you so much for being here. Like, it's such an honor to have you here and
thank you.
Have this dialogue,
Yes,
this true, raw dialogue. Like, it's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, it is.
So I also want to let our listeners know on our next episode, we will have Rhea Soul, and she's going to be talking about her gifts and how her life has really shifted over the past year in so many different ways. She's got so many different gifts, and also is really gifted in permaculture. So if we have any listeners out there that likes permaculture, but that is, I just thank you. Thank you all for listening. Divine Beautiful
thank
Souls.
you all.
And this is Catriel, your host, over and out.